Historic.
So here we go, everybody. We're back. We had a short break to have a drink and discuss some rumors from certain Formula One teams. Anyway, we're back and we are here with the historic acceleration event. What's the historic acceleration event, Matthias? It's just a bunch of old cars, or is it more?
No, it's just a bunch of old cars. No. Because of course this is the last year we do combustion as a specialty. We invited some of the older teams to bring their cars, and I think we have about 15 cars ranging from 2018 probably until 2003. There's one car from 2003 that will join us today on the acceleration.
Yeah, so this should be interesting because it's a lot of variation in cars. Some of them, I mean, the one in 2003 had a whole different rules set, and the only condition they had is that they had to still comply with the rules from that era, right? So they are not allowed to be modified to suit the new regulations or older regulations. They had to still comply with the rules back then. And we have a very nice, of course, a lot of German teams, but we have a couple of Dutch teams as well. So we will see a lot of nationalities here as well. And this is alumni usually from the teams that they say, okay, let's put some effort and some tender loving care in these cars and make them drivable again. And actually they had a lot of fun doing it, as far as I could hear from the stories. They also broke a couple of things and they had to fix it, but it just reminded them of the older days in their Formula student years. So actually it's a great idea from the organizers. And we have the very first car, the combustion one, obviously, the kit car.
This is actually a car from 2016, so no, not that old. I mean, it still looks quite modern. I don't think we'll have to watch too much towards the times. I think the people are here mostly to have fun, to show that their car is still worth of competing in this event, showing that it still works. And yeah, enjoy the show. 4.3. That is a really good time.
Yeah, actually, it's not bad. And just for everybody listening and watching, these teams will get 4 runs. So, like the old school days, they will get 2 drivers, each 2 runs. If they elect to do it after each other, they can do, of course, obviously, they can do 2 runs after each other, and then they can switch to the other driver. We have 1 hour and 15 minutes until we close, so I think we will be able to get all the cars through in 4 runs. Not sure whether all the cars that are invited and are here also driving. We will have to wait and see, but it should be a lot of fun. And there's actually a lot of fanatics which in those alumni. They still want to win every competition that they compete in, whether it's a regular Formula Student competition or an alumni cup. They want to win as bad as always. So that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, as I mentioned, of course, all the cars need to still fulfill some basic safety requirements. So they also went through scrutineering with a bit of modified rules or reflecting back to the rules at that time. But they also had to do brake test, for example, because if your car cannot brake, obviously it's not safe. But yeah, this kit car, the 2016 kit car, it still looks super quick. I mean, it could just compete in the FSG Acceleration 2023 still, and still get a top 10 time. Wow, 4.17. Second run in the historic acceleration. I did not expect that.
Yeah, they would do well in the regular competition with the newer cars. If we look at the combustion cars, so this is very good, 4.17, and that's really good. Back in those days, I think every time below the 4 seconds was already very good until the electric cars made their appearance, obviously. So yeah, they actually, I think they practiced a little bit, and they managed to find a good setup for the car. So well done.
I mean, they have 7 years of practice, of course, by now. So maybe that's the way to win from a student. Build a car and then test it for 7 years.
Yeah, well, you have to have a little bit of patience to do that. But after 7 years of testing, yeah, you should have a reliable car, I guess.
So the Karlsruhe car did 2 runs with 1 driver. They now stopped back in the dynamic area. They might do a driver switch probably, and then go for 2 runs again and have some fun. Next up, we might get the Eindhoven car from 2008.
Yes, yeah, you saw it correctly. You see the scrutineers flocking around the old car, and I think I see some threads on the tires, or is it my eyesight that is failing me?
No, we are definitely expecting rain. Nah, I don't think so. Yeah, I think these older cars, they just have 1 set of wheels, probably happy that they still have something that is working. I mean, it costs quite a lot to put on new wheels. So they will do the acceleration with their rain tires. I really wonder how good or bad that's going to be. Tomorrow we also have the autocross for the historic cars. So I think definitely there we'll see some squeaking of those wheels in these temperatures. And then on Sunday, these cars will also participate in the endurance event. I don't know which slot they will get, probably a separate slot, but definitely there I think those tires will suffer.
Yeah, and actually it is allowed to run groove tires, or tires with a thread on it. So it is allowed, but then you cannot change it to slicks, full slicks again. So if you scrutineer it and you say these are my dry tires, you are allowed to do them. If they are proper rain tires, yeah, then on Sunday and during the endurance we will see some bits and pieces falling off. I'm pretty sure about that. So here we go with the TU Eindhoven car. I think this is the monocoque that was riveted, wasn't it? Or glued, one of the two, as far as I can remember. It was a very novel design back in the day. With the big wheels, double exhaust, looking very nice. And it's a very clean getaway. Not too bad at all. Accelerate, shifts only once, 4.24. These guys are doing an awesome job, actually, with an old car. And just testing probably and getting the setup right, but actually it's quite impressive.
What is going on here, Mickey? The first 2 cars immediately putting in great times. Don't forget that it's combustion car.
Track evolution.
That must be it. So now we have the 2010 car from Delft. I think it's currently driven by Thijs. Making its way to the starting line.
Yeah, we know the sound of the single cylinder. This was their championship car back in 2010. And we will hear the rev limiter in a couple of seconds. So we will shut off the microphones because that's a lot of noise for a single cylinder.
It's a 4.77. The initial launch, no wheel spin, after a meter a bit. I think it was quite conservative at the beginning, too conservative. And here we have the Eindhoven car again. So on their first run, they did a 4.2, which is insanely impressive on the rain tires. We were mocking it, but 4.22, it's an improvement, but almost the exact same time.
Yeah, there was only 200 of a second, I believe. Actually, he shifted a little bit late as well. it went into the rev limiter, I think, after the first shift. So it would have been a little bit faster, not much, but that's the only flaw we could see. The getaways was pretty clean. There was some wheel spin, but it was okay. So very impressive time from Eindhoven.
And a 4.65, an improvement by almost a tenth of a second. Good launch, not the hesitation he had in the first run. So they definitely made an improvement. You can really see that it's hard to get these combustion cars slowly rolled. The clutch is really not made for that.
No, it's just dropping the clutch probably. And what you actually saw Thijs doing is shifting to second gear as a means of traction control almost. So drop the clutch and then almost immediately shift to second. And then that's sort of a traction control for the first. And in the meantime, we have Diepholz, UAS Diepholz. Very basic car, but very nice looking as well. And clean for an old car. 5.1. Not too bad. And they have at least a valid run, which is just awesome. And there's some decent points on the board. And in the meantime, Uni Erlangen is here. Also the blackish car, black livery. Also very basic, no aero. This is definitely pre-aero era.
So the official is trying to explain something to the driver, but of course it's really hard to hear over the engine noises. Trying to explain something left and right while they are aligning the car.
There is some discussion going on with the driver and the official, and the official is giving the green flag. And there you go, we're off. A little bit of hesitation. Clearly the driver didn't want to have too much wheel spin. A 4.92, decent time. The driver was a little bit hesitant, didn't want to have wheel spin. But after that, the pace picked up and they still managed to do a decent time. So well done. Let's see who's next. We have the next car coming up, which did run just now. It is the Diepholz car, UAS Diepholz. And again, a very basic, and I do believe they have an analog RPM, right?
It does look so. Every time he goes on throttle, there's a meter going up. We can probably see it now in the start as well.
It's actually a very good way to keep your revs in the window that you want to have it. It's a very basic analog display, analog meter, but it looks really, really cool. It's the only thing that the driver has to focus on.
I could see that the driver actually went quite low revs for the start, so he probably chose a certain point and then dropped the clutch and then prayed for the best.
Yeah, it was a bit slower than the previous time. Nevertheless, they have 2 runs in and they get another 2. So we will just have to find out and then see what will happen. In the meantime, Uni Erlangen is back for the second run.
So they also had a bit of a slow getaway, similar to the first run of Delft. The Delft driver did manage to solve it. And also in this case, the driver did a bit more revs and 4.66, that's an amazing time.
Yeah, I think the driver also had to correct a little bit of the wiggling of the car because it did pull a little bit to the right side. But she did a very good job. I think it was a lady. Did a very good job of correcting the car and do actually a better time than the first one. So a 4.6, very good points for the Classic Cup.
I thought this one was Chalmers due to the blue and yellow, but it's Schweinfurt. Good getaway, but getting into second gear proved to be quite difficult. Lost quite some time there. Still 5.3, that's not too bad for a first run. I see the Erlangen car again for the second run, although I think after 2 runs they need to swap drivers.
Yeah, there was some confusion earlier on about how many runs you get, but it is confirmed by the officials. 2 drivers, each 2 runs is what you get, so in total of 4.
I see another car making its way, but the Erlangen car is currently blocking the road. Curious to see what will happen here. Not sure what we are waiting for at the moment. I think everyone's waiting for the Erlangen car, but they do not get a second run. Apologies, they do not get a third run just now, or do they? The officials are giving the go sign, so they actually might get another run in. I see thumbs up from the team. So this would be their third run with this driver.
Or they swapped it really quickly as well. I'm not sure whether that's the case or not, but it is the third run. Not sure whether they got a rerun or not. And as we look in the queue, we see 2 huge headlights shining at us, and we see the car accelerating from the start line. 4.83, so no improvement for them. Sorry guys, because we were blinded a little bit by the car 73. I think it used to be Deggendorf, or
blinded by the lights, but then for real. Is this also a competitor for the Formula Student Underground?
Yeah, so this is the Deggendorf, and they used to have these lights on their car every year, and now they actually turn them on, and they can do so now because it's Classic Cup, so the rules are a little bit different, so no issues there.
Deggendorf has their lights on. Unfortunately, there's still too much sun today, but it's a nice touch. .99. Their time for the first 3-5 meters is 1.3. I think that's pretty good actually.
Yeah, the first couple of meters weren't that bad, and then you could see the car that had to shift 5 times at least before going to the finish. So you might lose a little bit of time with that. So you could also see the car squatting a couple of times while shifting and then accelerating again.
Erlangen 4th run, and Mickey and I are starting to smell the feel of the combustion cars. Slow getaway. .55. It felt to me like the getaway was slower, but maybe slow is fast.
Yes, and Schweinfurt is back. I love the sound of this, so we're going to have the audience enjoy it a little bit. So we're going to keep the mics open for this one. And there you go, that's the commentator's curse again. Just when you're wanting to have a nice, clean getaway from a combustion car, it stalls, obviously.
But we still get the show afterwards. The driver just pulling through, enjoying himself. And this is Stralsund. Is that a 4-cylinder? This is, I just heard, this is a 2003 car from Stralsund. So this is the oldest one here in the historic category.
To be honest, it looks quite clean for a 20-year-old car. So actually quite curious what they can, what kind of performance they can achieve with this car. Looks really nice.
It's a 4.76. That was actually really quick, but they started to lose out on the end. They lost some power there.
And Deggendorf is back with the 2 blinding lights. And up for the second run, car number H73. And being positioned by the marshal. Oh, we see a couple of more light shows just behind us. It looks like a police car. If I see that behind me, usually I have to pull over.
Yeah, or you start to accelerate, like here in acceleration. They shift a lot, or they lose quite some time. Schweinfurt is back. They stalled on their previous attempts. Lovely sound. Mickey is going to get a bit closer and give the audience the same treatment. Wow, 4.8, pretty good acceleration, actually quite a good launch. A lot of wheel spin, but I mean, he pulled it all the way through.
All the way through, and I hope that it doesn't last too long for them, because I saw a lot of steam coming out of the catch can. So that means that the car is actually quite hot and the engine is quite hot, which also I'm not surprised, because they're revving it really high and it's really hot outside. So there's not much cooling left in that car.
And it was their third run already on the acceleration here. Will they do a fourth one now immediately as well? Meanwhile, Hannover on the starting line. Quite a bit of wheel spin. They do have the thin Continental tires as well, so it's probably not that old, the car. A bit of weaving at the end. I'm not sure if the tires need more heat than they already have. Meanwhile, we have the Stralsund car here in front of us. It did stall. There's some kind of issue and needs to be pulled back. Luckily, the driver does have side mirrors, actually. So he will actually be able to drive backwards quite successfully. Needs to get into neutral though. And they're going to push it forward.
Yeah, it wasn't just a stalled engine. He didn't have any lights, any power. So maybe something with the battery. These have old-fashioned 12-volt batteries, 14-volt, what is it? But anyway, immediately he made the sign, okay, I'm not going to restart because I don't have any power.
I think Deggendorf actually switched off their lights. I'm going to have a look. No, they're still on. Shining bright. Quite some shifts there. It's going to cost a lot of time, and as you can see, not an improvement on their previous one. The Hannover driver quite eager to get going. Official had to calm him down a little bit. So 4.9, despite going to second gear quite late. But that's still quite a good time.
Here, another nice car, Uni Bochum. We're also one of the basic 4-cylinder cars from a couple of years back already. So it's really nice to see them back here. It sounds pretty sweet as well. Not like the single-cylinder engines or the 2-cylinder engines that make a lot of noise and don't have any power.
Wow, a big lockup at the end. It's even smoking off the tires. But it's actually quite a good acceleration time, 4.8 for them. We have the 2016 Karlsruhe car again. So they did a 4.17, and actually the Karlsruhe was a bit too eager and already triggered the timing, but looks like the timing guys got it under control and reset the time again.
Yeah, it's one of the mortal sins to trip the barrier of the timekeeping guys, because they don't like that. They have to reset stuff. They have to manually correct it. But there we go. Kit is off. A lot of power behind that one, so it should be a decent time, 4.22. It's a bit slower than their first two runs, but still very impressive for 4.22 for an old combustion car.
Super impressive. And I think they actually opened their DRS midway through. So I haven't seen that today, and this is the first car I've actually seen it on.
Yeah, I think they were one of the first cars to actually do that as well during the acceleration. So they're just doing the same old trick.
Clean launch, but still struggling with the gear shifts, the Deggendorf car. Lining up again, the Bochum car. Stalled it just before, but that's okay. Driver definitely enjoying him or herself. It was a time of 5.0, a lockup at the end again, quite some smoke. And here we have Karlsruhe. Their best time was a 4.17, they just did a 4.22. Will they be able to improve? Yes, it's a 4.14 for Karlsruhe on their first run.
Yeah, they set the bar really high, or low, whatever you want to say. But anyway, this will be interesting to see whether the other cars... I do expect the electric cars to be able to beat the time, but for combustion, I'm not so sure.
Me neither. I think for historic, this could well be the best time we will see here this evening. Up next, the Valéncia car, and again, we have the Goodyear tires. Wow, first run also 4.22, all right. The moment we say no one's gonna beat it, Valéncia does.
Well, not yet. We still have a 4.1 from some of the teams. But yeah, this is already a proper battle. And we have the Eindhoven car back again, I think for the third run. With, well, at least the threaded groove tires, or so we say groovy. So should be interesting. Maybe they swapped drivers, I don't know. But we'll see whether they can improve on their time. It was already quite decent in the first run.
I think it was in the range of 4.2, so they are also in the running. Maybe because of their rain tires, they actually have a softer compound. And who knows, that might actually be better for acceleration. Also quite interesting to see the asymmetrical pattern on their tires. I think it's a cooperation with Apollo Vredestein, where they developed these rain tires. And the grooves are there in that shape in order to better guide away the rain from the track. I see the official helping out the driver, probably with one of the helmet straps. safety first, so it's a good thing to do. And it looks like the driver's ready to go. Fortunately, he stalled it. Even the official is disappointed. He helped him so good. This is their third run, probably with their second driver. And there we have the Valéncia team again with their second run. So they just did a 4.22. I'm excited for this one.
Well, I think it's exactly the same time, but just a couple of milliseconds faster than their first time because it's green. So that means that behind the hundreds there are some milliseconds that we cannot see, but the timekeepers do track it. So very good time from Valéncia. So the heat is on.
Yeah, I think in previous years we would ask Thijs for the milliseconds, right? So we're half an hour in the historic acceleration. We have seen a lot of action. This is great. There's still 45 minutes left of this kind of stuff, so definitely stay tuned. I'm really curious if the time of kit is going to be beaten. Eindhoven just had a stall in their previous run, so didn't put a representative time in there. They did already had a 4.2-ish. What can they do? It was a very clean run. 4.26, apparently not an improvement, so it's very tight, all these lap times.
Yeah, and that was their fourth and final run. And now we have Diepholz back. I think they already did 2 runs, just the top of my head. Yeah, actually, and they have a little camera attached to the main hoop. And this should provide some interesting footage for historic documentaries.
Yeah, and that's the car with the analog RPM meter like you have in a normal car. Amazing to see. I've never seen that on a Formula student car. Car from Regensburg lining up again. With the small, I think it's a Continental tire. So this is the 2017 Regensburg. Back then it was already the trend to have smaller tires with smaller sidewall. And it's a 4.77, an improvement on their previous run.
Yes, I think we see the, I think it's a 2008 or 2009 Braunschweig car, just lining up next to the 2010 Delft car. We have a lot of time left, so every team that is able to run will be able to run probably, looking at the times. And we only have 4 cars in the queue and a couple of cars coming out from the first acceleration run. Yeah, there we have Diepholz, UAS, coming up to the line.
Gets into second gear, and it's a 5.0, an improvement. It's their fourth and final acceleration. Meanwhile, I'm having a look at the queue. We have the Delft car being pulled back. I think they had difficulties starting the car. What are the other cars we have in the queue?
Yeah, some of the older cars have a turning circle of a truck, so they have to put some effort into navigating the car out of the queue. I'm not sure what exactly the situation is with the Delft car, but we do have the Braunschweig car, I think, and it was confirmed. This is the 2008 car. They even have the sticker that they participated in the Dutch Open, the only Formula Student event below sea level. Which is interesting. So this is 2008, also 15 years old, this car, but it still looks very, very good. And I know this car was also in the final 3 shootout back then with Stuttgart and Delft, which was one of the first times that we have, the first time that we had a final 3 competing with each other. And after that, it became tradition.
That's how traditions are made. Really cool, also a car with the side mirrors. Interesting take. I think if your head is too far back in comparison with your main hoop, you do need extra mirrors to get the field of view of the driver in the correct amount. Otherwise, continuous won't be happy. This is a good-looking car. This is from Hamburg. Is it horsepower? No. Hawks. Team from Hawks. This is probably like the 2014-ish car because the wing is still super wide on the back. It's 2013. So in 12, 13, 14 was the upcoming of the cars with wings. And back then the rules were that you can have like a really, really wide rear wing. So you get these really impressive cars. Wow, the 4.46. These historic cars are really good.
It looks like we just ran out of historic cars, Matthias. I think this is the last one coming up. I think Braunschweig is coming up back for a driver change, probably. In the meantime,
Hannover car, the 5.0, do not improve. This is their third run. And indeed, as Mickey said, the queue is empty right now. We might expect Braunschweig back. And I think also the Delft car, 2010 Delft car, is still eligible for 2 runs. In the distance, I think I see a Munich car. The black-orange highlights. The Hamburg car is rolling back to the start. It seems to be struggling to get it in gear. And it's stalled. The driver is looking toward its colleagues. Something is going on. The driver is restarting the car. No luck so far. It's a nice time to enjoy the big rear wing. All right, and they'll be pushed back into the queue. The driver did not manage to restart the car in time because also Hannover is waiting to do their 4th run. it's the fourth run for Hannover. 5.6, and it's also their last run. There's a new car entering the queue. I'll have a look at what car it is. Right, we have two more cars in the queue. The Regensburg car, you have seen that one already. And then also the Stralsund car from 2003 is back. They had some issues when trying to do their second run, but they did do a first run successfully. I think the Regensburg car is ready to do his probably third acceleration. It's the 2012 car or 13. I'll see it pop up on the screen. Find it interesting that they have these very small sidewall tires, which is not necessarily a good thing. It's a 2017 Regensburg car. So back then it was already a trend to go for smaller tires, kind of initiated by the Delft team, who went to the extremes with it. They have a very small sidewall, which of course makes it a bit more critical during acceleration. It's a very clean launch. Also the shift sounds really, really nice. Quite brutal as well. And their third run is a 4.77.
Well, fortunately, we have a couple of cars left. And I also understand that the Delft car had some battery issues. So they will go back and charge the battery, and they will be back. We still have about half an hour to go in the manual acceleration for the historic cars. Well, the only acceleration type they have, because they didn't have the driverless. But it's really nice to see, and it's a lot of fun to watch them. Also, when we walked past the tents, they also had to bring their own tent and all their own equipment, obviously. And it was really nice to see some really old alumni, like from back in the day, but also some new guys that actually really like these historic cars and actually help them to rebuild engines or rebuild the rims or whatever. And that's really nice to see, that cooperation between the alumni and the new team members.
Clean run again, and it's their personal best, 4.65 for Regensburg. Stralsund also made its way back to the queue, and I think that is one of the Munich cars, TU Munich cars. I do have a story about one of our old drivers in Delft who did some driving for the Munich car as well. And apparently their combustion cars, they vibrated so much that he was scared that his teeth would fall out. I'm not sure if it's this one. Maybe you can ask the driver after his or her run. But now we have the Stralsund car.
Or just ask him to smile, and then we will know.
Now we'll see, yeah. Stralsund car lining up for their second run. Massive exhaust pipe.
Yeah, let's hope the driver doesn't kill the engine, because then it's going to be Stralsund.
Looks like they stick with Stralsund. 4.67 improvement. That is actually a very impressive time for a car from 2003. 20 years old and still lining up here in 2023 for an acceleration and just putting a 4.67 down. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's very nice and still sounded pretty sweet as well. So yeah, very well done by the former team there. Of course, they had some help left and right, but it's nice to see them here. And so we have the huge wings. There's no other word for it. Huge wings on the Munich car. We can see the 4 circles on the nose from their sponsors back then as well. So we can, and already back then it was an impressive car to look at, but also they were quite impressive and fast on the track.
Yeah, just look how high up that rear wing is. It's not only massively wide, it's also super high. Trying not to be in the wake of the main wing to produce as much downforce as possible. They're running the Hoosier tires, who have a thicker sidewall. I wonder what kind of pressures they are running on, because it might be beneficial to lower the pressures. Wow, super clean launch, pulled it all the way through, 4.26. No DRS on the car. I think it could benefit from a bit of DRS looking at that wing.
Direct DRS system would be taking the real wing off. But yeah, this was actually very nice. And with that kind of drag, you can imagine how quick that must be on the first couple of meters.
I'm sure the team can tune the wings a little bit. The question is, do they want to on an old car like that?
Actually, Matthias, I'm just looking at the time of the first 10 meters. And they actually were the fastest of all the cars in the first 10 meters with a 1:35. So 1 second 35. So 1 second 35 hundredths of a second. They were actually faster than all the other teams. Of course, they didn't have the fastest time overall, but on the first 10 meters, they were quite impressive.
Yeah, I just checked with the team. That car already in 2013 had a downforce coefficient of about 6. I don't know what that results in a drag, but must be quite impressive. I think the car actually... Oh, we have an improvement, 4.11. What is the best time? That must be quite similar, no? So what was the best time of the kit car? Do you remember?
It was around 4:11 or something like that, 4:00 something. We were having a little bit of a look at the times, but in the end, yeah, we'll just have to check a little bit later, because we have another car lining up, Bochum. Let's see what they can do on the acceleration.
It's a 4.8 on their third run. So I had a closer look at the Munich car when it was doing its second run, and I had the feeling there was a DRS system implemented. So maybe...
They're cheating. a little bit with the DRS, because we didn't have DRS back in the time. I'm not sure.
I think it was allowed always.
Yeah, it was allowed? Okay, cool.
Not sure.
Then it's maybe retrofitted.
But it wasn't active now. But
no.
I think they could gain something out of it.
I'm really impressed by the first couple of meters from the team, and they're consistently very, very quick on the first 10 meters. And after that, it's all about power to weight ratio, I guess.
Exactly. I think we have a fourth run of Bochum. There's some cheering on and some hints from the team members. A little bit of a drift. Official telling the driver slow down a little bit. I think that's fair. The racetrack is in front, not here. Very clean getaway. 4.6 for Bochum. I think they can be very, very happy with that. And again, the queue is empty. So what cars are we still expecting? So the Munich car might come back. Also the Delft car still has its third and fourth run. We still have about a bit more than 20 minutes.
A bit more than 20 minutes, indeed. We see the Scooties also desperately trying to find some shade. We have one billboard, more or less. It's giving a little bit of shade, and you see all the Scooties and the marshals flocking in that shade, a little bit of shade, because it's really hot out here. We're hot and suffering. But as always, we just need to drink a lot and stay hydrated.
have a little bit more action again in the queue. Braunschweig lining up for the third and fourth run. Also, Stralsund is back for their third and possibly fourth run. We had a closer look at the times, and actually, the Karlsruhe car had a 4.14. So that means that the Munich car actually beat them with a 4.11. So congrats to the Munich car. I mean, the launch was perfect. And they probably have potential to improve it even further. So there's about 15 or 17 minutes left in this session, and the queue is starting to fill again. Also, Bochum is joining. We're ready again for a three-way drag race. And in the distance, I cannot quite see which car it is. We'll see when it gets here. But first, Stralsund.
Yeah, we have a nice change of scenery. Frank Ruske, the guy who built this car, one of the guys who built this car, is actually going to give the green flag to his own former car, which is actually a very nice gesture from Frank. Let's hope he doesn't destroy the track. And off we go. A nice little jump from Frank. Will it be? Yes. It's an improvement of their time. I think Frank has given them some good luck with the jump and the artistic waving of the flag. So well done, Frank. And excellent job on giving the green flag to your own team. But he's a good sport. He's going to do it for a couple of more cars as well. So actually he's useful today as well.
Yeah, and it clearly helped. They had a 4.46. Crazy good time for a car that old. We're lining the Bochum car now.
Yes, so that was a 4.92, and I just heard from one of the officials that the teams are allowed to do as many runs as they can until 6 o'clock, obviously. So that means 15 minutes. So all the teams that want to do an extra run, all the classic teams, there we go, before we get all the electric teams or the driverless teams. So all the classic teams that want to do extra runs, so more than 4, you are allowed to do so until 6 o'clock.
Will Frank do the jump again? Yes, and away it goes. 4.7, couldn't quite improve on the previous one. But that one was already spectacular. Bochum car. I think this might actually be their 6th run already.
Well, Valéncia is coming out of the queue like a bull, seeing a red flag.
Yeah,
which is actually quite, because they have these bull runs, right, in Spain. So anyway, Valéncia is really looking to take the fight to the Munich car.
So they already had a very good run in their first 2 runs. This one is also very good, 4.28, but not a personal best. And indeed, they drove out of the queue as if the acceleration did already start. Luckily, the officials managed to calm them down a little bit.
You mean jump to the side, not to get hit by the Spanish driver. But anyway, that was quite a sight. And Bochum is back. Uni Bochum is back with, I think it will be their 4th run. I'm not sure.
7th.
7th.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
They just did their 6th one.
Good. Okay.
So they will just keep going, right?
Yeah, why not? As long as you have time, then you can still improve on your time, so why not?
The bull from Valéncia is back. And he's eager to eat that record from Munich. Oh, 4.2 from Valéncia. They do improve. The launch looks spectacular.
Yeah, you can see the first time is also 1:28, so that's already quite a win for them. So well done by the Valéncia car. Will they try again until 6 o'clock? Who knows?
I hope so. Yeah, so indeed that one number there is the time until the first 3 or 5 meters. Only Zurich managed to go below 1 second. They actually had an 0.89 for the first 3 meters. We have the Bochum one again, 8th run. Something went wrong there.
Frank did his best. He put everything he had into that launch, but unfortunately the Bochum car stalled. And Valéncia is back. Yes, we will see another improvement. Tires are getting hotter, track is getting more rubbed in, especially the way these guys are driving. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was even faster.
.22. It's more or less the exact same time. We have the Hamburg car from Hawks. I think it's their 2nd or 3rd run. Amazing car, big wing. We spent quite some time in the queue fixing some of the issues. Shifting quite late, staying in the rev limiter a lot. 2nd run is not an improvement, 4.6 still quite impressive.
So I think Frank Druske, he's looking at this as his personal workout for today, because he is putting a lot of effort into this, and he's jumping around and arranging cars and everything, so he actually likes it. And, well, hey, if it burns calories, why not?
I like it as well. It's a good show. He's going everywhere. Ninth run for Bochum. Unfortunately, they kind of stalled at the beginning.
So this will be probably one of the events that they could actually run out of fuel if they do a lot of runs.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the teams actually took this into account, that they could do so many runs. That might be a funny one, run out of fuel on an acceleration event. .5 on their 3rd run. They're constantly in the rev limiter. Aha. I think our FS Underground team, the 3rd competitor, is lining up. Last time they did not manage to get out of the queue. So this will be their first run, I think.
Yeah, we have less than 10 minutes to go, and we see a couple of cars coming up to the line. One of them, of course, Stralsund. So this should be also quite interesting. Will we get a jumping Frank or some other form of send-off?
This time Frank did not jump, but he focused on his flag waving skills. And I have to say, they are on point. And Mickey, I did not realize, but the Hannover car was actually the one with all the lights, but we just couldn't see it anymore. Because this is like their 5th or 6th appearance already. Fist bump with Frank, nice. Fifth run, 5.0 for Hannover. We have...
Yeah. And Stralsund coming back again.
A nice 10-meter burnout, lovely to see. You have the Deggendorf car with the headlights, ready for their 5th run. What else do we have in line? It's becoming a drag race here in the queue.
I think looking at the teams, they're actually competing inside the queue. Who can push the cars faster to the to the start line? These guys are really super competitive, aren't they?
Yeah, I wonder if there should be an acceleration competition for pushing the cars. Looks like Valéncia did win this one. We also have the Delft car making the way back, also an Eindhoven car. Hannover keeps on trying, but do not improve yet. And now the Bulls from Valéncia are back. 2016 car, looks amazing, completely black. Gets a fist bump from France. That gives you at least a 10th on acceleration. And that's an improvement of 4.13. That is the 2nd best time we've seen, behind TU Fast and in front of Karlsruhe, who had a 4.14 in one of their best runs. So maybe Karlsruhe, you need to come back and beat them again.
Yeah, challenge accepted.
I think so too.
But let's not rule out these guys also in the back end of the queue. They can go more times than 4, so they can go until time's up, which is Deggendorf is doing that exactly as we speak. So it should be very interesting in the last couple of minutes of the classic acceleration.
Yeah, only 5 minutes to go. Luckily, not unlike the driverless, this one goes quite quickly, and we can do a lot of different cars, a lot of different runs. Deggendorf slightly stalling at the start, but it's not too bad. And we have a 5.3. The police car from Hannover, also back in the acceleration. I see a marshal highlighting that the Eindhoven car is ready. And actually the Hannover car did manage to improve, finally. I didn't see it anymore, but I think it was a 4.7, which definitely is an improvement. Valéncia consistently doing acceleration runs, sub 4.2. Next up, Eindhoven. Good first meter, but then on the second meter, RPM dropped too low. Still a 4.39, even though it was suboptimal acceleration.
And Deggendorf is back for their 7th run, 8th run by now. So they must be getting low on fuel as well. So yeah, here we go. 7th run indeed. Picking some debris off. Oh, almost crossing the line. Don't cross the beacon, Frank. Yeah, he found some parts, classic part.
Valéncia car had 4.07.
Yeah, you can see the first 10 meters was already really good. That was a 1.19. So that means that their actual, they won on the first 10 meters. That was already quicker than any other time so far. So well done from Valéncia.
Actually, the driver managed from Valéncia to park the car exactly in the right spot. Frank barely had to touch the car anymore and put it where it should be. Eindhoven for their 6th run. After Eindhoven, we might get the Delft car or the Regensburg car. Smoke coming from the Eindhoven rear wheels, 4.38. And there we have the Delft 2010 car. I think this is Sam Pijnenburg behind the wheel. He was actually the chief engineer of the 2022 car, so last year. But he helped the crew of the 2010 car to rebuild the car, set everything up. And here he is on FSG, acceleration, doing his first acceleration of his life. And it's a good launch. Bit low on the revs. That's a 4.6. I do hear the bell. We have a lot of cars ready to run. It looks like the officials might give it a few more minutes for a bit more action. I also see the kit car. They want their record back.
Yeah, definitely. They're probably not very amused by the performance of Valéncia, but yeah, they just want their fastest time back. So will they get another run? Will the officials be lenient a little bit and give a couple of more minutes to see whether they can take it back or not?
So far, I don't see much action at the officials in the sense of shutting it down. But this is going really efficient. A lot of cars, a lot of runs at the same time. Braunschweig also going for their 4th run, 5th run, 6th run. I don't keep count anymore. 2nd run, it says. Looks like it was stuck in 4th or 2nd gear for quite a while, but still. An improvement, 5.3.
Yeah, and I think that it was only their 2nd run, as far as I can tell from the timekeeping. So we have Regensburg, we've seen them before as well. So these cars are actually making use of the opportunities. So that's good for them. Off he goes. first couple of meters not too quick, but he did manage to pull 4.8, which is not an improvement on the time. And here we have the second run of the second driver from Delft. So that means, in the meanwhile, Frank is picking up some bits and pieces from cars that are falling off, which is actually quite funny to see for Frank. There we go, Delft, fourth run.
Yeah, a little bit of movement in the first meters, that might have, in the first centimeters I should say, that might have cost him quite a bit of time. And here we have the Munich car again, the big wing.
Let's not forget they had a very competitive time as well, so maybe they're in for the contention as well. These super competitive teams, they just want to have that the final fastest time.
Yeah, they only barely got beaten by the Valéncia team after they did a few, what is it, 6, 7 runs.
Yeah, and it looks like, Matthias, I'm just looking at the cars coming back from the acceleration. So all the cars that have just done a run, they are not allowed to come back anymore. So we will just clear out the queue. They will all get one final run. And in the meantime, Munich, 4.22, very close, but still not the fastest.
Karlsruhe, on a mission. They had a 4.14. Got beaten by Munich with a 4.10. Got beaten by Valéncia with a 4.07. 4.07. It's green, which might indicate, but it's probably in reference to the electric times as well. So yeah, we'll have to look at the milliseconds to see who won. Wow.
Yeah, so this will be very interesting. So we have two teams, nearly identical times. We don't know which is best, but it's very, very exciting. So we will ask the timekeeping guys to inform us who won actually, because we would like to know as well.
I hear some revs of happiness, I would call them. Celebration revs, that's maybe the right word, from the Karlsruhe car. The team is very happy as well. And there we have Eindhoven queuing for probably their fifth run. They also had a very competitive time, around 4.2. Interestingly, I think they kept it in second gear, just all the way, instead of shifting to third. Not sure if it was on purpose or not. But they do not improve, meaning that their first time of 4.24-ish still stands.
Vicky, that's it? So, that's it. We are done for today. I think so, yeah, because Hawks cannot start anymore. So this is it. Everybody, thanks for listening in and watching on YouTube. Make sure to tune in tomorrow again, because we will be back with the same bad jokes. And please fill out the commentary form so we don't have to make up these bad jokes and we can actually tell something that is true about your teams and cars. So please help us in that. For now, Matthias, thank you as well. We had a blast and we are quite hot, so we will try to find some shade and we'll see you back tomorrow. This was epic. Any last words, Matthias?
No, thank you very much, Mickey, for joining me here. Indeed, it was a great day. I enjoyed myself. I hope all the guys enjoyed their cars. We saw some blistering times, great performance, and yeah, looking forward to the results.